Hi there. There is a big problem which we need to discuss. Over years, there has been a discussion in home ownership with regards to whether someone needs to rent a house or they need to buy a house. If it were up to you, would you rather rent a house or buy that house? Which one would you prefer? Be paying monthly rent or just put down money and acquire that house once and for all? Is what I'm going to be discussing in this video, and I'm going to be looking at it in details. And by the way, this is coming against a backdrop which is very, very fascinating. Globally, we have a crazy phenomenon whereby we've seen different real estate sectors of different countries out there actually trigger recession in those countries. We're talking about real estate bubble. And we saw this, for example, in the US in 2008. As we're speaking right now, China is going through a crazy property bubble. And for China, it's actually more dire situation because we're talking about property market in China accounting for over 15% of their GDP. And as we're talking right now, in China, two things are happening. Because they have been having issues with regards to how properties have been financed over the years, developers out there are rushing against time to complete building of different projects. And yet, the potential buyers, even put down money, are refusing to pay because they have realized what they bought is actually a fickle. They bought something whose price actually is going to tumble because of that particular financing which was used being shrouded in mystery. And this is actually causing the property value in China to tumble real hard. Even though property is coming down in price, people are not really ready to continue buying property. And that is going to actually spin China to a very huge economic problem globally. And we'll understand, China being the second biggest economy in the world, that particular scenario whereby is going to affect hugely the economy of China is also going to affect the economy of the world. Having said that, from where you're sitting, what will you prefer? Would you prefer to rent a house or just buy a house? Drop a comment down below. Start discussing there, and then we see what people say. Having said that, you are all much welcomed to the Money Daily YouTube channel. My name is Afagza Sifuna. And by the way, if you know, kindly consider subscribing to this channel. That's so because if you subscribe, you're going to be getting daily actionable insight on how you can multiply your money and also on how economies out there in the world are performing. Having said that, we all agree on one thing. It is actually most people's dreams out there to own a house. Think about it. Someone who's just fresh from college, they have finished their undergrad degree, for example. They've got their first job. One of the key things which comes to mind beyond even owning a car is them owning a house at a particular point in time. Whether it is in 2 years, in 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, you name it. One of their major goals in life is to own a house. And that's so because owning a house comes with its own privileges. Beyond there being no one asking you for rent each and every month, you are also entitled to have your own private space the way you want it, right? You are entitled to have your own privacy the way you want it. You are entitled to build a home the way you want it without any restrictions, which by the way is a good thing. But it also depends on someone's situation generally in life. It also depends on someone's financing muscles, okay? We can't say, for example, someone can go out there and obtain a mansion whose value is about 10 million US dollars, yet they are earning only $1,000 per month. So there's levels to this thing, and also there is a process someone has to follow for them to become homeowners. Having said that, for you to become a homeowner or even just to decide you need to remain on renting a house for your entire life, what are the key considerations? The very first consideration is location of a property. What do I mean? Depending on your interest, location of a house is very significant in informing you whether you just need to rent it, whether temporarily or to buy it and actually spend the largest chunk of your life living there or even being attached to that particular property. And I'm saying so because location has various aspects to it. For example, there are houses which are in urban settings. Others are in country settings, okay? We have, for example, houses whose environment has good amenities. Others are in areas which haven't been developed very well and so forth. So depending on what you want, location is very important in determining whether you buy a complete property or even put down money on a property which is under construction. And then the second thing is your financing muscle. In essence, how do you want to finance a particular property you intend to buy or even you intend to rent, right? In case you have little cash, even though you expect to be having cash inflows in future, it will be prudent, for example, to continue renting. And in case you have huge amounts of money and also you are sure you're going to be able to maintain a good lifestyle without really impacting your quality of life, you could possibly go ahead and buy a house. But also there is other financing mechanisms out there. Like for example, jumping on mortgage, okay? Using just outright leverage to see how you finance your own property on your own terms and so forth. Depending on your circumstance and your calculated future inflows of money, you could decide which of the two is a better option, to rent or to buy a house. Of course, understanding the convenience that comes with it and also the costs which come with owning a house, it is upon you to decide which of these two is a best option. And then the third consideration is your situation in life, right? Do you, for example, have a family? Is your family is going to expand in future? Is it prudent for example, for you now to put your entire savings in buying a small house, yet your family is going to grow in future? Depending on your life and family situation, you're going to decide whether to buy a house or rent it. And tied to that, the fourth point is that depending on your work situation, you could decide whether you want somewhere where you'll be domiciled permanently or you want somewhere where you can just be there temporarily because your work dictates that you move from one point to another. So depending on your work situation, you can also decide whether you want to rent a house or buy a house. And then the fifth and last key pointer is that also depending on restrictions and setbacks of any given area, you can know whether you want to buy a house or rent a house. And this also is applicable to different properties out there. And this so because different areas out there have different zoning restrictions, for example, and also they have different setbacks with regards to what you can do in a property. So depending on your life goals, for example, you want, for example, to buy a house in an urban center and actually construct a house stable. Is that possible, right? Depending on what you want to achieve in life, you need to check restrictions and also setbacks on each and every property out there, which you intend or which you have interest in buying. I hope those 5 points actually give you insight with regards to whether you are ready to buy a house or to rent a property, or even to buy a house or rent a house, depending on your situation in life and also aspects of that particular property. Thanks a lot for watching. I look forward to share with you other videos next time. Bye bye and you all take care.